Manifesting Money podcast. I am super happy and grateful to be live today. So if you're tuning into YouTube, hello, welcome. We're so happy and grateful to have you. So today, I just gave you a proper introduction before this, but I just want to re-edify how amazing you are. So I am with Jon Hillstead. He is a manifestation and mindset coach. He is a certified master NLP practitioner, a time technique practitioner, hypnotherapist, life and success coach, and an EFT practitioner. That word is so tricky for me to say. So Jon's purpose is to teach and uplift and inspire us to live our most authentic, high vibe, and abundant life possible.
Yay!
I can literally feel his energy before I even got here, so it's like it's like so fun. So what I like to do is start with some rapid fire.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just shoot them at you, and you tell me first thing that comes to your head.
Okay.
So, what is your favorite book and why?
Favorite book? I would have to say Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks. The Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, those two are probably my faves. Just because those were really influential books at the start of my journey. Like The Power of Now was probably the first book that I read that opened me up to like the spiritual realm and just the power of the present moment.
How did you get the book? Did someone give it to you? You just found it?
I got it. I downloaded it on my Kindle. Wow. I don't even know where I found it. It just came to me, divinely guided. And yeah, so that was one of the very first books I read. And then Ask and It Is Given came to me. I had been listening to a lot of like YouTubers, spiritual YouTubers, and they mentioned Esther and Jerry Hicks, and Abraham Hicks. And so I just bought it on Amazon, and it changed the game for me. It was amazing, yeah.
You know when you go down like places like and they have people have like their own little books, shelves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The book, The Law of Attraction, with Esther and I can't remember the other one.
Jerry.
Yeah. That was the first time I read that book before, but then I put it back in there and I wrote a note and I said, "You were meant to see this."
Oh man.
And I just find like the books find us. That's why it's so exciting.
They really do. Yeah.
Okay. Good question. So who was your very first mentor?
Very first mentor. Okay, so I don't know if you know them. Like I started my journey just diving down the YouTube rabbit hole and absorbing all the information from YouTubers. So there's this YouTuber, it's called actualize.org. And all of this stuff, all of his content just like resonated with me on a deep level, especially when I was going through a challenging time. So his name is Leo. He was like one of the first people I resonated with. And then Aaron Dowdy on YouTube. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, Aaron. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, love him. He was very influential at the beginning of my journey. Jake Ducey is another YouTuber. Abraham Hicks, of course. Yeah. Eckhart Tolle, all those teachings. So yeah, that's kind of where I got started.
See, I want to point this out that you started with YouTube because so many people are like want to start a YouTube and they just never do it. And I'm like, imagine if those people never started YouTube.
Oh my God. Imagine if they weren't living their purpose. Like I would have never discovered them. And just like that's why it's so important for us to just show up and like speak our truth and be living our most authentic truth, because like there's so many people that need to hear what we have to say in the way that we say it, right? Like you're gonna say something to someone, it's gonna resonate with them, and maybe they can hear it from you better than they can hear it from me, right? Because you're uniquely you.
Yeah.
You have this like a unique journey that only you can tell. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So beautiful. We'll have to come back to that because that's such a deep topic that everybody needs to know about. So my third rapid fire question for you is, where are you originally from?
So I was born here in Southern California.
Okay.
But we moved to Washington when I was really young. So I grew up in like the Seattle, Tacoma area, Washington State, in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
Shout out.
Let's go 253.
Yeah, I know the area codes. Mine's 308. I'm from Nebraska.
Oh yeah? Do you still have the area code?
Yeah.
Yep, same.
And everyone's like, where are you from? Alaska? And I'm like, leave me alone.
It rhymes with Alaska.
No, I'm not for that. Okay, last rapid fire question is, when was the first time that you invested in yourself and how much was it?
Oh, wow. So after my awakening? Or
yeah, you can tell whatever comes up for you.
Yeah, I guess the first like thing I invested in was retreat, an ayahuasca retreat.
Oh my God, that's big.
It was big, yeah, and it was it was at the very beginning of my journey. And then after that, I guess there was a course that I took that was it was like $300. So the retreat, I think, was around $1,800, which was a ton of money for me at the time. A lot. And then even the course, the $300 course was like, oh, wow, this is a lot of money to shovel in to invest in myself. But I would say those two things were the first, like, yeah.
I like it. I have her on live because it's like, I literally get so many chills. It's crazy.
I get them too. The truth chills, right? Like,
wait, the $1,800. Did you have the money, or did you borrow it?
I was like literally living paycheck to paycheck. I had to pick up like driving DoorDash just to make ends meet and to figure out how it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I can't even remember how it all happened. Like I don't even know how I came up with the money. It just all was like, it just happened.
Oh,
yeah.
This is so beautiful. One of the things that I tell my clients the most is that money likes to be told where to go.
Yeah.
And especially when it's like the high frequency, like reason why demand, right? Paying off debt is one thing, but it's like going on retreat. Yeah, that's like high frequency. So.
Yeah. Needs a purpose, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
That's amazing.
Okay, so I definitely want to get into a little bit back into your story before you were conscious of all this stuff. I really want to know, what was the original plan? Were you always going to be a manifestation coach, or how did it really start?
Yeah, so I didn't really become consciously aware until 2019. Like the first time I heard about manifestation and the law of attraction was way back in 2007 when The Secret came out. So I saw that movie and I was like, hell yeah, like this is exciting. Like I can create my reality. Like I'm going to manifest $100,000 this year.
Wow.
Did that happen? No.
Yeah.
That didn't happen because I didn't have all the information, all the tools, like the subconscious beliefs and all the, right? There were beliefs below the surface that were like, not in alignment with manifesting that money. So I kind of was like, I passed it off as like super woo-woo and like, oh, this is a bunch of bullshit. Like, this is not real. And then flash forward to like the year that I was becoming more conscious and aware and awakening and discovering all of these tools and modalities. And so it was just really exciting for me because I went from this place of like, being the victim to finally realizing, wait a second, I have the power, the freedom, and the ability to shift my focus and manifest from nothing. You know, like it was so exciting and powerful for me. And so that's where it kind of started. Again, it was on YouTube, just learning from people on YouTube.
Yes, I feel like that's a really good way that people just find their purpose, is that they're like one of the things that you just watch and you're interested in that just like nobody else really, you know, is on that path that you specifically are. And I think it's just a beautiful way to connect with people like from all over.
Yeah. So
I'm very curious that what your parents, was there any influence of like what they wanted you to do with your life, go to college or? Yeah,
they were very like, oh yeah, go to college, you know, get your degree. But I was somebody, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I had left high school, like no clue. And it took me years to finish a 4-year degree. It took me probably like 7 to 8 years to finish a 4-year degree just because I didn't really have a purpose or direction. I was just kind of like moving with life and very lost and confused, no purpose or direction. And so that was actually like one of the root causes of my depression was not having like a purpose, right? Something I was passionate about. So they were very supportive of me. I grew up in a very religious family, so we were going to church twice a week. And as soon as I left the home and was in college, like religion it never resonated with me.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I get chills.
But I was still lost. Like in my whole 20s, I was completely lost. Like I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in the universe. I didn't really have like a spiritual connection to anything. I was just a very lost and confused person during that period of my life. So it wasn't until like my Saturn return, like 30, 31, where I started to like awaken.
So was there like a specific incident or anything that happened that made you have that shift, or?
Yeah, I remember being in my tiny studio apartment in Seattle, very depressed, high social anxiety, no purpose or direction. And I was sitting in my bathroom and I was like contemplating like, how can I end this? Like how, I was having suicidal ideations. Like, and in that moment, I just like, it was this weird crazy awakening moment where I became like the awareness and realized, whoa, I'm not these thoughts. Like I'm the awareness, I'm the consciousness observing these thoughts, and this is crazy. And so from that moment, I was like, there's got to be a way to feel better. There's got to be a way for me to heal. And so from then, I did talk therapy for a few months, and that helped me to become more comfortable with talking about my feelings and my emotions. But I wanted to I felt like a call to expedite the process. So like I dove into YouTube and was just like absorbing information like crazy. And then that led to me discovering plant medicine.
Oh, so good. Okay, we got to get into plant medicine, but I want to back up a little bit. So, especially with suicide awareness and just really talking about it, I think is one of the best things that we can do. Yeah. And, you know, I think so many people have so much shame of even just having the thought. Yeah. And so, one, I want to commend you. Thank you for sharing that part of the story, because people don't realize of like how long you were in that process, right? Where you were just not living your purpose, or you were just maybe conditioned from other things that were happening to you and thinking that this is what I need to do and I can't do what I want because just beliefs that we've been programmed to believe. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's really beautiful that you were able to see that rock bottom and use it to your advantage. And earlier you talked about victim mode, and I think a lot of people unconsciously fall into that. Yeah. And I'm just excited to hear how everything started to shift.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Definitely rock bottom. Like that was like the bottom of the pit. And so, but still looking back to this day, I'm like so grateful for all of those moments, for all the experiences I had, because it led me to who I am today, right? Yeah.
So after you discover all this stuff, right, and now you're into plant medicine. So wait, I want to know about ayahuasca.
I want to know about this
ayahuasca. Came up on my podcast. I haven't done it yet, but I'm like,
these must be the signs, little synchronicities. Like,
okay, yeah,
it's happening for you soon.
I know.
Maybe you're being called. She's calling you.
Oh, so tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it was something I had heard about way back before. Like I had heard about it when I was traveling in Ecuador and Peru. And at the time I was just like, this sounds crazy. Like you're going to go into the jungle, sit down with some random shaman, take this like potion and shit your brains and keep your guts out. And like, what? That doesn't, what? You're crazy.
Yeah.
But then flash forward to 2019, it was just an intuitive knowing. And like, it was like a call to go and work with the medicine, just because I had heard it helped with people who were suicidal, depression, PTSD, drug and alcohol abuse. Like I had read that it, helps to heal that. So it was just like a no-brainer for me. And I spoke Spanish and I had done a lot of travels in South America. So I was just like, that part isn't uncomfortable for me. So yeah, it was, we could do a whole podcast on this intense experience, but it was just a game changer, like eye-opening, opened me up to like the spiritual realm. Like, holy shit, we're living in this matrix. Like, what the hell is going on? Like that, it was almost dramatic because I had no prior knowledge and understanding of spirituality before that. Wow. So it was kind of like diving into the deep end. Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to know?
I guess what is one of the main things that you maybe seen that was like really helped shift things when you came back?
Yeah, every ceremony was different. So it was there were 6 ceremonies total.
Wow.
So 6 nights. Yeah.
Okay, so 6 nights back to back to back.
So it was a 12-day retreat and then 6 ceremonies over the course of the 12 days. Yeah. So not back to back, but some breaks in between. What it really taught me was how to surrender and trust. Wow. Because you have to surrender to the medicine in order for things to work. Because if you're fighting against it, it's like your ego fighting, to lose control, essentially. Your ego wants to stay in control. So that was really challenging at the beginning. And I had abused marijuana. Like that was how I dealt with my depression and anxiety, was like just abusing marijuana. Like I would come home from work and just get stoned out of my mind just to cover up the pain, right? And I'm not against marijuana. I think it's a beautiful healing plant, but for me in that moment, I wasn't using it with the right intention. I was abusing it. So the very first night was insane because marijuana and ayahuasca, according to this shaman, they don't get along, these two feminine plant spirits.
Wow.
So he wanted to like purge the marijuana from my system. So this might sound kind of crazy, but the very first night he was singing a traditional ikaro, which are the songs they sing to connect with the medicine. And there was literally like smoke coming out of my body.
Oh my
Like, it was insane. Like I could see smoke coming out of my body. I could smell marijuana, and I'm like, am I hallucinating? Because it's a hallucinogenic, right? So I thought I was hallucinating this. But the next day, somebody who was in ceremony with me was like, did it smell like weed in there? Or was that just me? And I was like, oh my God, you smelled that? That was coming out of my physical body. So he literally purged it out of my body. So, and that like brought me clarity because it was kind of like foggy.
Wow.
I was living in fog. I didn't have clarity because it was kind of like energetically blocking me.
I love hearing that you were using this tool, right? The marijuana as not addictive, but was something to cover up the pain, to mask the pain, right?
Yeah.
And I love talking about this topic because a lot of times people are really hard on themselves for having those addictions or the things that they're like doing on a consistent basis. They're like, I don't know why I keep doing this. But it really has nothing to do with the actual substance, and it has something to do with a lot deeper.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing with like money and credit cards and stuff like that. People blame credit cards and all these different things, like, oh, they're so bad, or money is so bad. It's like, it's not the money, it's not the tool that's bad. It's the underlying belief in what we're actually using it for. And so I think this is so beautiful how this is a whole different release for you.
It's a whole deeper thing, right?
Okay, so let's fast forward. You go through this process. You're spiritually woke now. What happened next?
It brought up a lot of subconscious memories too, right? Like repressed childhood traumas, like the reason why my parents got divorced, which I never knew why. Like I was pulling all of these things from my subconscious mind to bring them to the surface, bring them to my awareness to heal them. But more than anything, it taught me, like, I'm pure unconditional love.
Wow.
Like, the first time I ever felt unconditional love was during that ceremony. And it gave me this knowing of, like, I need to go out and help people somehow. My purpose is to help people. At that moment, I didn't know how and in which way, but I knew that was my purpose and calling, was to be of service. So the awakening continued, right? Like, it just continued to, like, everyone goes through their dark night of the soul and has, like, you know, these moments of like realization of who we are, what we are. And so I was just kind of continuing down that path of like seeking and learning and discovering. And that continued into 2020. 2020, I feel like 2019 prepared me for 2020. 2019 was my big awakening because I needed to be here of service in 2020 to help others through the process.
Oh my gosh! I just got full body chill. It's always my legs that I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. It's crazy to me that all that stuff happened to you before the pandemic.
Before the pandemic, yeah. And it was just like expedited. I was like, why is this all happening to me so quickly? It's because I had to like live my purpose in 2020, which was showing up and being seen and being of service in that way.
And so you started making videos on TikTok.
So the beginning of the first half of 2020 was, you know, more diving into like just living my truth and speaking my truth. And mid 2020 was when I started showing up online in that way. I started allowing myself to be seen, allow myself to be heard, speak my truth, teach what I knew, what I had come to discover. And it just continued to like unfold from there. Like, especially TikTok. TikTok was such a beautiful outlet for me to express myself, my creativity, but also it was a safe space for me to speak my truth because nobody knew me there, right? It was like a blank slate. It was like I was starting fresh. I didn't have the people who knew me before sitting there judging me. I could just be free in that space. And so that was like a gift because I was able to like just go for it 100%. And then that gave me the confidence and courage to transition to like Instagram, where the people who did know me before were there. That was a challenge in itself, but TikTok has been such a blessing.
Oh my God.
Not only to like show up as a creator, but to learn from other creators and connect with other people. Oh my God, like this is crazy that I'm here in the
I know, it's like I'm like literally sitting here listening to you. I'm like, wait, what is even happening now? It's so funny because it's like it's kind of one of those things, you know, it's gonna happen, and then when it actually happens, you're like, oh my gosh, I created this. We are literally just the most powerful beings, and I think it's the more that you can connect with people like that who also believe the same.
Yeah.
Because yes, there's some people who don't believe it, which is one thing, but I think it's more of the people who just haven't seen it for themselves is why I continue to show up. It's like you have no idea what's in store for you guys. Like everyone listening, watching, like they've manifested this too. You know what I mean? And we're no different from anybody else.
Oh my gosh, we're all master manifestors, right?
Yeah, it's so good.
I love it.
So you started showing up online. You started showing up on social media, and like while everybody was probably at their lowest points. And this is funny because actually in synchrony with my story too, I realized I joined a mastermind. It was like my first quantum leap. And it was my first time getting around people who were operating at the same frequency, like wanted more. I realized that I was no different from anybody else. I just had everybody else on a pedestal because they had more money than me. It was this crazy thing. And then the day I got back from this mastermind in LA is when everything got shut down. And I was like, oh my gosh, how can I help everybody? There's so many ways that there's loans out there, there's grants. I was like, the same thing. So I'm curious, like, what were some of the things that are ways that you were helping and serving people like on social media? And I know that you're an expert in hypnosis and all these different things, but.
Yeah, so the first videos I was creating was specifically about manifesting because that was like so exciting for me. And it was a huge part of my journey in going from victim to victor, right? Going from that, like living out effect to finally being the cause and like the creator of my life. So I knew that other people could benefit from that. And I just knew intuitively, I was like, I'm a light worker. Like I'm here to help other people feel good and like to be of support and service in this dark, challenging time. So just to let people know that they're not alone and that, you know, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, like you're not alone in this, like keep going, like just to be that, you know, motivating support for folks. And, you know, I didn't know what was going to happen. Like I had no idea what was going to happen, but then there was a need for more to go beyond just creating content. People were needing coaching.
Yeah.
So I just started coaching people like last year in November. And then I wanted to like dive deeper and learn more. So I got certified in a bunch of different things. I'm like one of those people, I'm like, I want to try that. I want to try that. Like, let me try that. That looks fun. Like, I'm literally that person that's always like doing the most. So I needed some structure, some organization. I wanted to make sure that I was, you know, providing people with the right tools and information. So I got certified in all these different things, which just gave me even more confidence to like show up and be of service for people.
What do you think was the number one maybe struggle that everybody was going through that they were needing help with at that time?
It was just like, I think it was just like the unknowns. Like there was a lot of fear of like the unknown.
Wow.
And so I think that what most people struggle with in the manifestation process is that factor, is like being able to trust and let go of how it's all going to happen and the outcome. I feel like a lot of people are afraid, well, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't even know if it's possible that's going to happen. And so just like teaching people to just trust and surrender and let go and realize you're fully supported, you're guided, you're not alone. Like you are literally never alone. You have guides, you got angels, you got the universe, you have fellow ants. You know what I mean? There's so much support out there. So I think that's scary for people to like feel that fear of being alone and fear of the unknown. And so I think that was the biggest block for a lot of people.
Wow. Oh, it's so good. I know this is resonating with so many people and they're like, hello.
That's me. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's so big. And I made a podcast episode about this the other day about how faith is the number one way to match the frequency. Like you're never going to know how it's going to happen or whatever. And one thing I was going to ask you about is like growing up in a religious household and how it really shifted, or what things shifted and what things did you release to really step into this highest vibrational state of yours?
Specifically related to money, releasing the beliefs that money is evil. Money is the root of all evil. People who have money are evil, right? That was huge for me. That was one of my biggest limiting beliefs around money.
Wow.
And just realizing it's just a tool. It's not money itself that's evil. I mean, there are some people that use money in not the most high vibrational ways. There are people that use it in low vibrational ways, but it's not the fault of money itself. And just that was big for me because that was a big, deeply ingrained subconscious belief that it was money's evil. And it's, you shouldn't want money because it means you're greedy if you want money. But that came from religion. That came from, those religious beliefs that I grew up with.
Yeah. And I feel like just down the line, it just got totally like, what's that game? Telephone? Telephone, because somebody else had to explain this to me too, because I was like, well, why would they say that in church then if if that's not the story? But really it's just the lust for money. And I think a lot of people are not open and receptive to we get so shut off to be, nope, it's this way, it's this way, it's this way. And I just love how you're able to release that and really step into it. And I was, again, talking about this on the podcast the other day. I was like, I was so scared to teach about manifestation because I was like, am I going to get punished by God if I say I'm a creator? You know? I was so scared about that. I was curious if you had that fear too.
I didn't have that specific fear, but that's interesting to hear that. Right? Did you grow up in a religious?
Yeah. And I think it was, I realized it wasn't like the fear of me talking about manifestation, because I was the Makeup Mentor podcast for so long. And then when somebody said, oh, you're a manifestation coach, I was like, no. I think the fear was not being accepted because my parents grew up in a certain household, had certain beliefs. And I was like, well, if they don't support what I'm doing, that means that I'm not worthy and I'm not loved. And it goes back to what you were saying, the unconditional love. And I was like, oh, so these are just beliefs that I'm bringing up in my head for no reason. Yeah. So
that's wild. Wow. Good for you to be able to shift that. It's powerful. I had fear around telling family what I was doing, what I'm doing. And I still have some resistance there. I don't know how to explain it because maybe they don't understand it fully. But there was definitely some fear there the first time bringing it up, oh, what are you doing now? I'm teaching people how to manifest their dream life. They're like, what the hell does that mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the things that I explain to my clients is that money comes to us through other people. So, people get inspired action to write this check and, the best way that I can explain money manifested, because everybody's like, where does the money come from? And I'm like, bro, I literally can't even tell you. It's just so crazy. It's like people don't understand how money literally just, falls in your lap when you're living your most abundant life.
Yeah. That was insane. It was literally flying everywhere, all over the place.
All over the freeway, people were getting out of the cars.
Talk about being abundant as fuck.
It's just so funny. But other examples is the checks that are coming to you are already coming to you. But what happens is that the mailman just so happens to get an extra load. Oh, I can take that extra piece of mail, and then it gets in your mailbox the day after you do the writing exercise. It's just so funny of all the different ways that money just circulates. So.
And there's so many ways to. It's all around us all the time. So that's what's super fun. I always like to have people do an exercise or expand beyond what you think is possible for you and try to figure out different ways that money can come to you. What other streams can you create for yourself?
Yeah.
Right? It's we're so conditioned to believe that, oh, it's just this 9-to-5 job that I can make money from. But it's okay, if you have a lake and there's only one stream, what if that stream dries out? The lake's going to dry out. But if you have multiple streams coming in, that lake is going to always be full, right?
Yes.
So expand beyond the old paradigm of just working the 9-to-5 and thinking that's the only way it can come, and just be open to receiving money in other ways.
Yes, I'm very curious because I know we have a lot of listeners who are going through that shift where they're releasing a 9-to-5, they're releasing a job that's no longer serving them. Fun statistic here. I think there's 4 million people that have left their jobs in the past couple of years. I can't remember when it started, but
wow.
4 million people. What the hell? It's crazy to me. But what would you suggest to that person who's going through that shift? I don't want to work here anymore. I want to work on X, Y, and Z, but I'm scared.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I would say if you are scared and don't feel like you can dive in 100%, leave your job 100% and go all in.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, if you feel like you can't do that, you got to start somewhere. So starting to create something on the side, even if that means working more, coming home and working on your business, whatever it might be. But also if you're in a job that you don't like, I know it can be hard to find things that you do like about it, but do your best to feel gratitude for having that job in that moment, right? Thank God I have this job that lends me the ability to pay rent at this moment in time. And just finding everything you can to be appreciative and grateful for while you're still there is just going to help the transition feel better, right, as you move into something different. But also, like, step into your gifts.
Yes.
You know, share your gifts. Don't be afraid to share your gifts, because when you share your gifts and your talents with the world, you're, you know, abundantly blessed financially in return. Like, I know it's scary and challenging, but that's part of the journey too, is like feeling that fear and doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really about like the thing you manifest, but like who you become on the way to the manifestation, right? It's like you facing all those fears, all those beliefs coming to the surface, and you reprogramming them, releasing them. Like, it's the journey. That's the fun part, right?
Oh, so good. Yes, I feel like a lot of people forget that part too.
Yeah.
You know, and then they beat themselves up for going backwards, and I'm like, bro, like, you literally have no idea how much you've just like shifted. Like, that's why I like looking back at like journals and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is who I was a year ago.
That's my favorite thing to do. Yeah.
Oh.
Like, especially if I'm like in a space where I'm feeling doubt about myself or what I'm doing, going back in my journal a year ago and looking at where I was and how far I've come is so empowering to help me to continue to move forward. So everybody should journal.
Yes.
Keep track of what's going on, how you're feeling, how you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
What else was I going to say about that transition period?
About releasing the 9 to 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest fear for people is, how am I going to make money? How am I going to do X, Y, and Z? And everyone's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, honey, you create it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think what I tell people the most is that, yes, it's all going to work out. But the more that you can be conscious and aware that it's not going to work out the way that you think it is, the better.
Yes. Let go of that attachment to the how it's going to happen. But yeah, investing in yourself too, I think is huge. Like, that's going to give you the confidence. That's going to give you the tools to really go for it when you're learning these new things, like getting a coach, signing up for a course, like doing your 3-day manifestation challenge, right? Investing in yourself and getting all these new ideas and tools in your tool belt is only going to help you to make that transition.
Yeah. And be like, that's when people get the most downloads and whatever. And then I'm like, and then they're like done with the 3-day workshop, and then they're like, well, now what do I do? And I'm like, look how much has manifested in 3 days. What were you doing? Journaling, doing the work? Like, really, it's not anything that you can't get from the courses and stuff, but there's such an energy exchange that happens when they invest in themselves.
Just them purchasing, that's huge. That's a big sign, right?
Yeah. Like what you said with the $1,800 in the beginning, like, not knowing how the money's going to show up, I just know that I'm going to follow through with this decision, and then it just happens.
Yeah.
This is so good.
The return on investment is like mind-blowing, you know?
I'm very curious, what's your routine? Like morning routine, night routine?
Yeah. I do a lot of my stuff in the evening, actually.
Oh, wow.
I'm not typically like your morning person, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I love to sleep in. I'm more of a night owl. Like, I operate and function best, like, you know, between 12 and 3 a.m.
Wow!
Like, that's like when I get my greatest ideas and I work the best, because I think it's the time when most people are asleep. So it's peaceful for me. Like, when it's chaos and there's a lot going on, I feel very like overwhelmed. So when it's quiet and peaceful, I can like hear things and receive information and messages. So typically what I like to do is meditate. Qigong. I don't know if you've heard of Qigong.
No, tell me more.
Qigong is an ancient Chinese moving meditation.
Wow.
So it's a moving meditation. It's really great for people who feel like they can't sit still and quiet their mind, because Qigong incorporates movement. So yeah, it's a beautiful way to move the energy. I do a lot of Qigong. What else do I do? Breath work. You tried breath work?
I have. It's like, I feel like it's coming back to the surface for me, because I started it at first when I was in the Manifestation Babe Academy.
Yeah.
But now that my old routine isn't really like, it's not in alignment with me anymore, I'm like, okay, I gotta switch things up. And breathing is like definitely one of the things that comes up.
Yeah. That's also another great tool and tip for people who have had trouble meditating, is try breath work, because you drop into that similar meditative state through the breath. Super powerful.
Can you do an example?
Yeah, so I do a 3-part breath. It's actually, I learned this breath work called neuro breath work by Gina Sky. She created it. So it combines subconscious reprogramming and the breath at the same time. Yeah.
Okay.
So I lead people through the visualizations and the process while they're breathing. So it's a 3-part breath. So it's all open mouth. It's belly, chest release. So belly, chest release, all open mouth.
I'm going to do it, but I'm scared. Okay, wait. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I just get so scared. I don't know, not scared with it, but I feel like when I was doing it, I know you're supposed to breathe with your belly.
Yeah.
Right?
I used to stick it out like, breathe out through your belly. Yeah, I'll have people lay down, and it's crazy what people release in that moment. Crying, laughing, screaming. It's really powerful. So I incorporate that into my programs because it's huge. And while they're going through it, I'm leading them through these visualizations that reprogram their subconscious mind. Yeah, it's so good. Thank you, Gina Sky. She created it.
Shout out. So good.
Yeah, so.
So, breath work, meditation. Qigong.
Just being out in nature. That's huge for me. I love nature. I connect with nature. If I ever am stressed out or feeling overwhelmed, just like taking a walk out in nature and being present out there is what helps me to ground. What else do I do? Cacao. I work with cacao every once in a while. And also movement. Dance, girl. I dance every day. Like my spiritual practice is like turning on some music and just strutting down the hallway. Yeah. Like pretending like I'm the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Like that is the best way to raise my vibration and get the energy moving and flowing for me. Hypnosis, EFT tapping. Have you done tapping?
Same thing with my manifestation, babe. I've started it and then I just didn't come back to it. But now again, it's coming back to the surface again.
Yeah.
So wait, what are the points?
Right here.
Here.
Above your eyebrow. Yeah. The side of the eye. Below the eye. Below the nose. Right here on your chin. And then right below your collarbone. The little fatty part right below the collarbone. Under your armpit. And then at the crown of your head.
Oh, wow. That's a new one. I did not know that one. So where that little bone is?
Right at the crown.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay. See.
It's just an easy way to, like, once you memorize all the points, I use it a lot for anxiety. So if I'm feeling anxiety, I'll just, like, tap on those points and release the anxiety. I like to explain it like you have a clogged toilet, okay? The clogged toilet is the negative emotion that's stuck in your body, and the plunger is you tapping and flushing it and allowing it to flow through. So you're bringing up the emotion you're feeling and then allowing it to release through tapping. Yeah.
So good. Okay, I want to get into, we're coming, oh my gosh, I just see 444 in the number. So
many angel numbers on my way here. I'm like, this conversation is divinely guided and supported. It's so cool.
And I'm so happy that you're able to come. You know what's so funny is that I've been like watching you forever, and I feel like we've been like each other's like hype person in the comments and stuff. And I knew I wanted to reach out to you, but I was so scared.
Aww.
I know, isn't it weird? And
I'm so glad you did.
Right? And
it's inspired action. You manifested this. I manifested you. Like, so cool.
And so everybody watching this right now, this is inspired by inspired action.
You are walking the walk. That's amazing. And you practice what you preach.
Yeah.
So cool to see it.
So I'm curious, what are some like maybe exercises? I know we talk about tapping, hypnosis. Like, what else do you do with your clients?
One of the biggest techniques I use is called time techniques.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
Have you done time techniques?
No, but I remember you talking about this on our first call, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to talk about it.
It's so good. So basically what it does is it takes you along your timeline, and you go to the root cause of an event. Maybe the first time, so we have limiting beliefs, right? But we also have limiting decisions. There was a moment where you decided to believe that to be true, right? There was one instance where you took on that belief that money is evil, right? So with time techniques, we take you back to that very first root incident where you decided that, and you understand, what can I learn from this event? What is there to learn from this event? And often people realize, like, this isn't even my belief. Like, this isn't even mine. It's my grandparents or my mom's or my dad's. And they get these amazing learnings from that root cause, which allows them to release the event and all the times they decided that all the way up into the moment of now, and realize it's kind of silly, like the beliefs that we hold on to, right? So time techniques has been really, really helpful for clients to release limiting beliefs, negative emotions, and it's really simple and easy to do. And you don't even necessarily have to reassociate to that event or even have a visual representation of that specific event. You just trust whatever your unconscious, whatever your subconscious mind is telling you. So it also teaches people to, like, trust their intuition, trust the person that comes up. Which is so hard for many people to do because we get stuck in our logical, conscious mind often, right?
Yes, and is that very similar with, like, hypnosis, or, like, when people do the sessions, they're like, well, maybe not that one, but...
Yeah. Well, I bring them into a trance so that they're more relaxed and they're in a slower brainwave state, but they still have the ability to accept or reject whatever I'm telling them.
Wow.
Right? But it's powerful because you're removing that barrier, that layer between the conscious and the subconscious, so that we have direct access to the subconscious. So whatever you want to implant into your subconscious mind, girl, like, let's go. We can drop them in there. You know?
Yeah. Like, I'd love for you to explain hypnosis a little bit more to people who are not conscious of it, because I talk about it in all my programs, and I'm like, it's hypnosis.
So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So powerful. So most people think hypnosis is a loss of self-control, right? We're conditioned to believe, like, in the media, in TV, that it's like mind control, but really it's self-control. And it's basically the same brainwave state you go into, similar state you go into when you're in meditation. Just with hypnosis, you have a specific intention, maybe to build confidence, maybe to increase your motivation, maybe to, release your fear of being on stage, whatever it might be. So basically we have our conscious mind, which is the logical, analytical, computational part of our mind, very small percentage, right, of our mind is conscious.
5%. I learned this the other day.
Yeah. And 95 or more percent is subconscious.
It's crazy.
Wild, right? So all of the stuff that, like, our reality is basically created from our subconscious mind. Our beliefs, our habits, our emotions, our identity, our values, all exist within the subconscious. So with hypnosis, we're taking that conscious mind and we're distracting it by taking it in a beautiful forest, and we're moving that barrier between the two so that we have direct access to the subconscious mind, and then give the subconscious mind those direct suggestions, like empowering beliefs, or metaphors. The subconscious mind loves metaphors, images, pictures, symbols. So that's why vision boards are super powerful, because your subconscious mind resonates more with those images, the feeling, right? So hypnosis is really powerful, and all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So you can even go onto YouTube and, like, listen to those hypnosis recordings, and those are really helpful. I used to listen to one every single night before going to bed.
Yeah.
Because as your mind shifts into that slower brainwave theta state, you're open to suggestions more. And, your subconscious mind is always working. It's always running. It never stops, 24/7. So even while you're asleep, it's still going.
And that's the beauty of hypnosis, too. Because with guided meditations, you fall asleep. And not that it's not effective, but it's not. With hypnosis, you can still fall asleep, and it still reprograms your subconscious mind, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're still, like, my favorite topics in the world.
So all right. Good.
We have just a few minutes left, and so I know that you are serving right now on a massive scale. Shout out TikTok. We would not be here with
TikTok.
Everybody. Guys, this is how this happened.
Yeah.
But I'm curious of what's the latest thing that you've been working on?
Yeah, so I just finished up my 6-week program. So it's
done.
It's done.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it just finished Thursday.
Oh.
But I launch it 3 times a year. So it's a 6-week course where we release the old paradigm, the old program, and we anchor in and program a new paradigm so that you can manifest whatever it is you're wanting to create. So that ended. That's coming out next year again in February. But the fun thing I'm working on right now, related to abundance, it's a 21-day I am abundant as fuck hypnosis challenge. So
Yes!
it's 21 days, 21 hypnosis related to manifesting money and abundance with a tip every day, a manifesting money hack every day. So it's going to help reprogram your subconscious mind so that you become abundant as fuck, girl.
Yes! Oh, I love this. This is like one of my favorite things because 21 days is like the recommended amount to reprogram a subconscious belief.
Yeah.
What if someone skips today, what do you tell them?
I just say don't sweat it. Go into it with the energy of having fun. Try your best to stay committed to it, but it's all about, coming into it with that energy of fun and play. So if you skip a day, just, I don't know, do it the next day. Yeah, forgive yourself.
Keep
like,
going.
It's all good.
It's not a big deal, though.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Like, I always tell my clients that I'm like, just go.
Just keep going.
But I think that's like so powerful. And so I'm so excited about this program. And honestly, what I like to do for anybody listening, because the biggest thing is that when they take action out of what feels good, when it's that high vibration before their ego talks them out of it.
Yeah.
So I like to give them rewards. So anybody who signs up for your 21-day challenge will get a free audiobook from me.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's my thank you. So it'll be, what was the book that you talked about? The Power of Now.
Yeah.
That's the book that we'll do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're amazing. You know what? You're doing amazing work out here. Like, I just want to say thank you for the work that you do because it's huge. It's so powerful. Like, how many people struggle with money and finances? Like, we never taught this. And you're out here shifting that paradigm for people. And it's really powerful.
Oh,
so thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. I receive it. And I used to say stuff like that, or hear stuff like that, and it really would go over my shoulder, go over my head. And now I'm like, oh, this really is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I will say the number one reason I'm so motivated to teach it is because, one, I'm inspired by people like you. I'm like, oh, he's like so amazing. I just love your TikToks. And when you see somebody out there who's also doing what you're doing and they're serving, it just makes you inspired and motivated. And it also comes from a place of, there's a lot of people who are just, one, not conscious of it. That's one thing. My biggest goal is to just, everybody in the world should be conscious that their thoughts create their reality and that money is energy. That's like two things that's my goal.
Yeah.
But there's people who don't believe in this stuff. They think it's woo-woo. Like, I'm woo-woo, but I'm also like, guys, there's so much science to this. And I really like to explain to people why all this stuff works. And so I like to pour into the people who are learning and who are going to apply it to their lives, because they're going to tell somebody else about it, and then their manifestation story is going to ripple effect, and that's how the world really gets changed.
Yeah. You're doing it on a massive scale. Like, you're impacting so many lives. It's so cool.
Thank you, love.
And when I listen to you, I'm just like, you say it with conviction. You know what you're talking about. And it's just like, it's so cool to see. So props to you and everything you do.
Thank you. I feel like a massive level of receiving right now. It's so good. So technical wise, guys, when you guys sign up, please just screenshot your receipt and then just send it to my team so that way we know. So it's info@manifestingmoney.com or info@manifestingmoneypodcast.com. That's the email. So screenshot it, send it to us, and then we'll give you your gift. And I think they can only join until the end of the month, right?
Yeah, you have till November 30th because we start day 1 on December 1st. Okay. The first day of the 21 days.
So note that you have to sign up before the 30th, or else
don't miss out.
Your coupon doesn't apply, or your audiobook doesn't apply. So my last question for you. Oh wait, actually, let's find out where people can find you. Where's like the best place that you're most present?
TikTok and Instagram at Jon Hillstead, Jon. And I'm most present on those platforms. Okay. Also the website, jonhillstead.com. Find more of my services and what I offer.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, so my last wrapping up question for you is what I ask all my coaching clients, what again just helps us think from this abundant mindset. So if you had an extra $1 million, I just gave you the check, what would you do today? Like physically today, the time hasn't changed, the weather hasn't changed, you're still in San Diego. What would you do?
What would I do? I would help pay off my family's debt.
Oh,
if I could.
Yay!
Yeah, if that was enough. No, I'm sure it's enough. And then I would take a trip somewhere. I'd probably go to, I don't know, like the Maldives or something. And then I'd probably just like start giving money outside, like to people. Just start handing it out to people. I think that would be super fun. Like, can you imagine someone walking up to you, here's $100? Like, that would be so fun, right?
We should do that after this.
We should totally do
Oh my gosh! Okay, go on. Oh, it's so beautiful. So yeah, that's my last question. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you for coming down here and being in this live energy and obviously just shining bright as you do and just being an example for so many people.
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun. I'm so glad I got to meet you in the flesh, in the physical.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me.
Yay!
Yay!
Bye, friends.
Bye.